That was the end of the Houston Marathon 2025, and that was a race that I started with these guys. But by the time this controversy unfolded, I was already back in my hotel room. So I'm a global runner, and I'm 50 years old, and I'm trying to break 72 minutes in the half marathon with a view to breaking 2.5 hours in the marathon later this year. My first attempt was at Houston, which was an unmitigated disaster. I was sick in the build-up to the half marathon and ended up pulling out at mile 2. So, quite frankly, it couldn't have gone any worse.
Okay, let's do this now while it's raw. Had to drop out at 2 miles. That is no fun.
So the story goes that Roger Bannister, who of course was the first man to break the 4-minute mile, knew that John Landy was posting some fast times in Australia and was likely to break the 4-minute mile pretty soon. And Roger Bannister, being a sports scientist, or a scientist at least, had the knowledge that the body doesn't start to lose fitness until 5 days has passed. And so he trained as hard as he could, and then he took 5 days in bed, didn't do anything. And then, of course, on May the 6th, 1954, he went and he broke history. So I've always taken that story as being you can do nothing for 5 days and not lose any fitness. And we are 5 days in, and I haven't done any running. I did, however, want to share with you the experience on race day and some of the things that I've taken away since that time, and some of the learnings I've had as to what I might be doing wrong. So I showed the expo in my last video, but I just wanted to show it again because it was such a super cool race and really well run, and the expo experience was really fun. So I had a good time at the expo, bought some things and really enjoyed it. Okay, just coming back from the expo, and I saw Adam Wood out for a run. The guy is better looking in person than he is even on his YouTube channel. It's cool. I'm boy crushing on him, or fan crushing him, or whatever the phrase is. Yeah, he gave me a high five. Nice dude.
Okay, well, it bores me to hear me say this all the time, so I don't know what it would feel like for you guys, but oh man, I would love a race where I wasn't sick. So it's the day of the race and I'm sick again. It's a Friday afternoon. I started feeling a bit of a headache and a bit of a sore throat. Friday night was pretty terrible. Saturday I was in bed all day, not feeling the best. Took all the drugs, but here we are, race day, and pretty bad sore throat. It hurts when I swallow. Oh man, I just wish, I don't know what it is. Is it the taper that makes me sick or something? But it's not coincidence. There's something going on here. By the dawn's early light.
Reminds me of that Batman film.
So as you've just seen, there was a bit of chaos at the start, but we got into our running. I was going to overlay this with a bit of music, but I decided that it would be better if you heard the sounds of the crowd and the people breathing and just the general feeling of the race starting off in the dark. It was a super cool experience, but I was just not feeling it throughout, and I went through the first mile in 5:48 and was just feeling terrible. And I told myself, if I can't pull this around by mile 2, there's just no point carrying on. My second mile was even slower in 6:04, and that was the point I realised I just wasn't doing myself any favours, and so I did this.
Okay. Okay, there's no point insisting on that. Oh man. That was horrific.
That's 4 races in a row now where I have not fallen sick during the training, thankfully, but I've fallen sick during the taper, which of course is right before the race, which is not ideal. And so that's not a coincidence. There's something going on there. And so the key, I guess, is to finding out what the issue is and then fixing it. So a number of you had a number of really helpful comments, including taking supplements. And I do take supplements, but I think I need to up them in the taper week. I need to increase the dosage in the taper week. I can't avoid people and I can't avoid going on planes to some of these races. I wore a mask this time and I sanitized the area, so there wasn't much more I could do on that front. I did have someone reach out to me separately, not on YouTube, and they were really helpful. And they said this had happened to them a lot. And their comment was that oftentimes during the taper, people don't start carbing up for a little period of time. And I have to admit, I'm guilty of this. Usually, if I'm starting the taper, say 10 days out, maybe a week out, I will not reduce the intake of food that I have, but I'll certainly watch what I eat, and I'll be protein heavy in that period of time with a view to later on in the week increasing the carbs. And I do that because I want to make sure that my glycogen levels are high, but I also want to make sure that mentally I don't feel like I'm packing on the pounds, which sounds stupid, and I promise you this is not an eating disorder, but I am a bit careful with what I eat at the start of the taper. And I think that is probably part of the problem. When my body relaxes from the hard training, obviously it's letting in all of the sickness. And people put it more medically than I have with increased cortisol levels. But basically, I think when my training reduces, my body relaxes, and essentially that lets the sickness in, is my simple way of looking at it. I think part of it may be dropping glucose levels when I don't have as many carbs as I would ordinarily do. And so those decreased glucose levels, I think, are impacting my ability to fight sickness, and that's how I get sick. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Whenever I hit a taper, I think I need to shift that focus at the start of the taper to a bit more carb heavy than I have done in the past. And hopefully that's the fix. I guess we'll find out. In terms of next steps, I'm still sick. First thing is to recover. I haven't run a step since Houston. And once I've recovered, I'm going to give Mesa a go. It may well be that I'm not as fit as I was at the start line of Houston, so we'll just see what Mesa brings. I'm not putting any pressure on myself, and it may be that I just go out and enjoy the run and see where things end up. But at the moment, the focus is on getting better and getting back to running. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to mash the like button, and I'll see you very soon.